Hey there, and welcome to episode 61 of the Unapologetic Mompreneur podcast, where I am chatting with the amazing Julie C Butler all about how to create an offer and get it out in the same day. Have you been thinking about creating a digital product, hosting a workshop or masterclass, or launching a mini course, but keep putting it off because it feels too overwhelming and you don't know where to start? You are going to want to listen to this episode. Join us as Julie shares some of her best tips and strategies for deciding which offer to create, how to name and price your offer so that it speaks to your ideal client, and how to actually do the work, get your offer out there the same day, and sell it before it's ready so that you are getting paid whilst you're creating the content for it. Trust me when I say that this strategy is pure genius and it makes creating your offers so much lighter and so much more fun. Julie is a branding and systems coach, an Amazon bestselling author, and the host of the Build Your Beautiful Business podcast. With over 15 years of experience owning and running a business, she helps female entrepreneurs design and create beautiful brand identities and websites so that they can make more sales. Julie's mission is to support female entrepreneurs to find balance between business and living their life through their online business, and her business helps them achieve this with simplicity and ease. Julie and I have been online biz buddies for at least the past 4 years and maybe even longer, and I just love everything that she does. I've spoken at all of her summits, gone through some of her courses and programs, and have been a guest on her podcast. And so now it is great to finally be able to return the favour and have her here as a guest on the Unapologetic Mompreneur podcast for not just one, but two incredible guest episodes that I'm going to be sharing back to back as a mini two-part series. And so if you are not already subscribed to the podcast, make sure you do that now so that you are the first to know when next week's episode all about designing the perfect brand for your digital product goes live too. The perfect follow-up to today's episode. Trust me when I say you are not going to want to miss that one either. Okay, so without further ado, let's dive into part one of this mini series with the amazing Julie C Butler, all about how to create an offer and get it out there in the same day. Welcome to the Unapologetic Mompreneur, the podcast for mums with an online business who are ready to take back their time, home, business and self so they can restore the balance and thrive, both at home and at work, without feeling like they have to choose between the two. I'm your host, Sarah Dew, life and biz coach for mumpreneurs. I'm also a mum, stepmom, wife, introvert, breast cancer survivor, and your mentor for making a change for the better. I've learned how to go from surviving to thriving and unapologetically create a business I love and the life I want for me and my family without worrying about what other people think. And now I'm here to help you do the same. Because being an unapologetic mompreneur doesn't mean that we're selfish or that we don't care about others. It simply means that we are not afraid to show up as our true, authentic selves, to step into our purpose, do what we know is right for ourselves and the ones we love, and take the steps we need to take to make our dream life and business a reality. Join me each week where I'll be sharing all of my best tips and strategies, plus the occasional dose of tough but gentle love to help you feel empowered, motivated, and confident to take action so that you can become the mum, wife, biz owner, and woman you know you are meant and deserve to be. So, are you ready to unapologetically create a business and life you love? Let's do this. Hey, Julie, and welcome to the Unapologetic Mompreneur podcast.
Thanks for having me, Sarah. I know this has been a long time coming, but here we are.
It has indeed. I've been so excited to get you on here, and we've been in each other's worlds for quite a few years now, haven't we? 3-4 years, I think, maybe. And I've spoken at some of your summits, maybe more actually. Yeah, absolutely. So it's been
4, 6, maybe between 4 and 6.
Oh my gosh, it probably could well be actually. Wow. So yes, long time coming. So it's been fab to have you on here, and I'm really looking forward to diving into what we're going to be showing about today, because it's definitely something that I know that I could do with some help with, and I know that everybody on the show, listening to the show, is something that is probably going to help them hugely loads as well. And it's all about how to create an offer and get it out there in the same day. So if we just before we dive into all of the goodness that I know you are going to share, do you want to just, anybody who hasn't met you before, just share a little bit about you, who you are, what you do, your journey, and to where you are and what you're doing now?
Yes, sounds good. So my name is Julie C. Butler. Um, it's just like whenever I say it, it's just like, oh, do I say just Julie or Julie C. Butler? It's like kind of like a package. I'm in Ottawa, Canada, and I've been an entrepreneur for almost 20 years. I can't believe it. But and it's been like, I don't want to say a roller coaster, but it's been like, from photography to network marketing to back to photography to global online business. Like, sometimes our roads are kind of like, but that's what who makes us who we are now. But I love helping female entrepreneurs build and grow their online businesses from the logo to the colors to having a beautiful website to syncing everything, growing their community, and just moving into now teaching and coaching on how to create your own summit. So that's me, and that's the gist of it.
Wonderful. I love that so much. And all of your branding and everything that you do is just, it's always so pretty and so feminine and it all just fits so well together. And every time I look at your website, I just want to hang out there and just stare at it all because it always just looks so amazing. And I've loved because I've been spoken, I think I've spoken at every single one of your summits, haven't I? And just being on them, and they are just one of the best summits that I've ever participated in, and the organization of it all and everything. And you're just an absolute whiz with all of the tech and everything else as well. So I love the fact that you are now going in and just showing us all how to actually grow and host our own summits as well, which is amazing. So today we're going to be diving in all about how to create an offer and get it out there at the same day. And I know personally myself, that is something that I struggle with because I have all of the ideas and all of the things that I want to create and do and, multi-passionate and all the different things. But then I get stuck and I will ballpark it and I'll think about it. And we were literally just talking before we came on and hit record, weren't we? About one, how it took me so long to get my podcast going. And you were one of the people there that was kicking me in the pants and like giving me my accountability of going, come on and do it. And we've just had the exact same conversation about hosting a summit and putting an offer out and getting it doing. So it's perfect that it all kind of fits and makes sense. That it's, we have those ideas and then we let it sit there and we don't do it. But we know that if we do get it out there and just do it, that's how we're going to grow and bring in join clients and everything else. So that sounds kind of scary though, creating an offer and putting it out there the same day. Is that actually possible? Let's dive into that. What do you mean when you say creating an offer and getting it out there in the same day?
Okay. Now, Sarah, I'm not talking about like a full-on program or like mastermind or like what I like. I'm working on something right now, and it's certainly not an hour's worth of work. Like, but this I'm talking about like a workshop that you want to put together, or like a master class, or even a mini course, right? You don't need to spend weeks creating these things. And first of all, you don't need to create anything before you've sold it. And that's what the important thing is to know here. So you might be sitting there thinking, oh my God, like I could use an extra $1,000 right now, right? How can I do that? But like you said, right, we have all of these ideas in our heads, and we usually write them down, or sometimes not. We keep them in our heads and we don't do anything with them. And sometimes it's something that we're so passionate about because, again, like, having you being aligned with what you're creating and having like that good energy around it matters as well. But you're like, oh, like I really want to have a workshop or do a workshop. And so do it, like sit down and spend like an hour and, like create that little, and what I mean by create, I mean like kind of map it out. Like, okay, I want to do a workshop and it's going to be like, 5 days or whatever, like not a big on huge project, but that's kind of what I mean. And I know we're going to dive deeper into this, so I could have just kept talking.
No, I love that. And I love that you made the distinction as well. I think that's super important because when we think about an offer, it could be just like, it's tempting to think that it's something big. I mentioned podcast and summit, but they are huge projects. They are things that you are not going to get done in one day. It takes time to put them together. But having them putting out a workshop, yeah, we could do that in one day. When I think about it, and especially you saying you don't have to actually create everything before you even put it out there. So I'm glad that you shared that distinction. And so digging into the types of offers, what do you consider as being a good offer for that? You briefly mentioned like workshops and that, but let's tell us more about those and how you can work out what would be a good offer.
So we've all seen the master classes, like, like the $77 or 47, 37, whatever the price is. We probably all participated. And like, if you didn't participate, I'm sure you've seen them around. Like, I'm sure that, if you're listening to this, you've seen them around. It's basically just you, either with slides or without slides, you're going to talk about something that you're passionate about. In during a master class of 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes, whatever the duration, it doesn't matter. And or a workshop, like I'll use mine as an example. So it was a summer, and I was like, and Sarah, actually you were in it. Remember? Yeah.
I
And I
do,
was like,
yes.
I'm like, I need like some extra cash right now. So what can I do? And so you can have a look at your business in a whole. And you like, you might, like me, for example, I'm like I love like teaching and training people how to grow and build a beautiful business, right? Well, that's like a huge, like that's the umbrella, but under that umbrella there are a lot of little like subjects, right? So it can be like a micro topic, right? So I was like, okay, I'm like, I feel like maybe teaching people how to create 5 website pages. So I'm like going to do a workshop. I'll have like a 2-week Facebook pop-up group, and I'm going to do 3 live classes teaching people how to create these 5 website pages. And so that's what I did. Like I mapped it out. I'm like, okay, it's going to be, it's going to be a workshop, 2-week pop-up Facebook group. I'm going to have 3 live classes. And I mean, this is something that I'm good at doing. I didn't have to reinvent the wheel. I already know this stuff. I can like talk with my eyes like blindfolded, right? Like I can do this. But there are probably people out there sitting like, I need to create these website pages, right, Sarah?
Absolutely, that was totally me. When you shared that that's what you're doing, I was like, I didn't even think twice. I'm so in because I knew I needed to do those pages, and it helped me get them done. So it was almost like a mix of a workshop and a challenge at the same time, but putting your feet to the fire and making you take that action, and it worked so well.
Yeah. And it could be something that like people are like in your audience, they're talking about like one of their pain points, and something that you can get results in like a short period of time, right? Like I think that that's what I would recommend. Like, what is it that's you can do with them that's going to create results instantly, that they can sit down and do the work? And like this was a little bit more, a little bit more work, because creating website pages can be, time consuming or whatever. But I was like, so that's what I did. I decided it was going to be a workshop. I was going to have a pop-up Facebook pop-up group, and I was going to do 3 live classes. They could have been pre-recorded, but I decided to do it live. And then that was kind of the format. Then I came up with a name, and I kept it like super simple. Like, sometimes we want to be creative and inventive with the names of our offers, but truly like they need to just speak to what it is that the class is or the workshop or whatever. And then I put a price tag on it, and then I just shared it in my stories. I shared it on my email, and then I got 10 people to join within a matter of, I forget now if it was weeks or days or whatever, but it was great.
Fantastic. And would you say doing that as well? If I like that the fact that you shared that it can be micro and it doesn't have to be. So I've kind of got 2 questions popped in my head now. So the first one was like the micro topic, and sometimes like you think there's like the big umbrella, but actually, would you say creating an offer and getting it out there in the same day, the most powerful thing is going to be having that like micro topic and something that like building those web pages, is going to solve that pain point for them. And then other question, which I've completely forgotten now. What was it? Oh, that was it. Of just like the choice of deciding whether to record it all in advance and then or to actually hosting it live. How do you kind of decide, or which do you think this one better than the other, or do you just go with whatever feels right for you?
I think whatever you feel like doing.
Love it.
Really do what feels aligned. But at the same time, I'm not going to lie, doing it live definitely got the rave reviews, right? But if
Mhm.
it's personality to do it live, then pre-record it, because it has to feel right. And I could have sold this, and I could have been like, Sarah, it's, I think I called it beautiful website in a box. And it was, but I could have went ahead and saying, buy it now. They're recording the 3 classes. They're going to be pre-recorded, and they're going to drop on this day. Like you can still do that. You can sell something before it's created and say like, I'm going to drop that first call, the first recording on, whatever, the 15th of September. You can pre-sell, it doesn't have to be ready and to go when you're selling it. So I say do what feels best for you. Masterclass, they're usually done live, but I've seen them pre-recorded before. Like, I mean, usually you do it live, but then it's pre-recorded. So you just put it on your website and sell it pre-recorded already. So I think for that question, really, like there's no right or wrong answer here. I think you really need to feel into it and just do what feels good for you. And I think that's really important because that's how your energy comes through and it comes out and all that stuff. Like I just launched one of my programs a few weeks ago, and I was going to do a live class, a live master class. And I'm like, a few days before leading to it, I'm like, oh, I don't feel like doing it live. So I'm just going to pre-record it. And that's what I did. And then I shared it, like I shared it to the people, and nobody said, "Oh my God, you lied. You said you were going to do," but like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think people care so much. I think it's really about how you can help them, how you can fix their problem. And then when the thing is that also you want to create something that they're going to want to dive in and do the thing so that they're, getting results so that you get the testimonials. So doing it live definitely had that component of it, right? Like we were doing it together and I was answering questions and giving support. And that was a really good way of getting testimonials, and people were raving about it in the Facebook pop-up group. Like I remember, Sarah, you said, "Oh my God, like I've learned so much about Elementor this past week that in the last few years,
Yeah.
we were working with Elementor at the time to build our website pages." So you really, really have to feel into it. And I'm sorry, but did I answer both questions or was it like,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, the other question was like picking on that micro topic so that it gives that,
oh,
that real pain point
yeah.
and solving. And that, yeah, absolutely, like you shared with the website example that you did. And I did. I learned so much more in Elementor in that, what was it, week that we were doing it than the entire 4 years before of trying, being super frustrated with my website. So yeah, and I think that's such a great way of looking at it, is asking what feels best and easiest for you so that your energy is right. I did exactly the same before the summer, where I hosted my first term time roadmap workshop, and I decided, I was pondering whether or not to do it where it was pre-recorded, but then I thought, what, it'd be great where we can all come to the Zoom together, we can chat about it, we can then go through, and I shared like the process of how to sync your business with your child's academic school year, and then we had a live Q&A at the end, and they were able to actually just ask the questions. And then I did exactly what you said. I took the recording, and it's now, people can buy it as a replay on my website and they can watch it in their own leisure. So I think that's kind of like helping you get the biggest bang for this buck as well. But I do think that having it so that it is live like that and you're with them at the time, it really does help. One, with those reviews, but it builds more of that like urgency and excitement, I think, as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, and you know what? There's another benefit to this doing, and like it was a low ticket, right? Like it was $111 for like creating 5 website pages. That's kind of like a no-brainer price. And then I've seen other people do this. They do like a master class for like $17 or something like that, and then you teach them something like so amazing, right? Like yeah, I mean, you don't give them everything in the kitchen sink, obviously, but you give them something actionable that they can do or get results right away. I mean, depending on what we do, it can be like sometimes they won't see results right away, but doing it that way and giving them something that is like actionable, and they see results, and they love, like they spent $100 and they friggin love working with you, and they see that you're such a good teacher, you're such a good coach. Well, guess what happens? They may end up being your private client, or they may end up going and joining your $1,000 program or stuff like that. So this is another benefit that these small-ish offers have to do, like what they can do for you and your business, right? Like my coach currently has this like small offer. It's like $50. And right, Sarah, I'm sure you've seen it.
Yes.
Basically you get an audit of your business, and so she goes in and she does a recording of your business and what you could do to make it better and all that good stuff, and she sells these for $50, and then she does her thing and she sends it to the person who bought this audit. And what happens? well, they're like so amazed by what she gave them in actionable items, and that they end up being their clients. They hire her for private coaching, or they join her programs, or they buy, like, a bunch of her other little offers or whatever. So that's what these small offers can create. And how wonderful is that, they get to work with you for, like, anywhere from, 17 to 150, $200 maybe. And then they end up wanting to continue working with you. So that's a great benefit of these.
That's amazing. And it's a good way, especially like if it's a coaching service like that too. If it's a bit, it can be someone who's never gone on to coaching with somebody before and they're curious about it. It's an easy entryway in for them, isn't it? That they can see them, they can connect with them, see what their teaching style is, what they can benefit from them, but without having, it just gives them that chance to dip their toes in the water. So I think it's a really great way of doing it. So I think that it means though then that we have to make sure that we're super clear. We're not just doing and putting something out there for the sake of it. To kind of backtrack, would you say, from what our eventual offers are, our final big offers and signatures offers, whatever they might be, whether it's a service or a program or a course or coaching, to pick something from that then is like the next best logical step?
Yes, right. Like, you have to, like, this tiny offer, make sure that it's related to what your offers are, or what maybe, like, if you do private coaching about, let's just use health and nutrition, for example, because it's an easy topic to talk about. But you're not going to teach them how to create I don't know, like, okay, maybe that wasn't a good example, but you know what I mean? Like, if you're a health and nutrition coach, you're not going to do a workshop on teaching them how to, I don't know, create a website. I know that's not, like, that's a silly idea, but you get the point, right?
Mm.
Like, it's like me and what I do, but then I'm going to sit around and teach them how to, take pictures. Well, that makes no sense, because why would I teach people how to take pictures and create like a $50 offer teaching them how to take pictures for their business or whatever with their iPhone? It has nothing to do with what my core offers are, right? Like, so
Mhm.
you want to make sure that it's related to what your group program is, what your coaching is, or like, what in the long run, what do you want them to do? You want them to hire you for coaching, or you want them to join your program? Okay, so now what can you take? And it could be like a module of your program that you're like, for example, I am I'm working on, I'm going to launch my mastermind on teaching people how to host their own summit. And so I'm probably going to lead with a workshop leading into, launching my program. Well, I'm not going to teach them how to, create a lead magnet. I'm going to teach them how to, come up with the name for their summit, pick a date and the theme, and like things relating to the summit. So that's like a part of the whole program, that we're like, it's just like you take a tiny part of it and you do it together with them. And they're like, well, I want to keep going. Like, you're such an amazing teacher that I want to do this with you. Like, I want to create my own summit. Like, what do I do next? Right. So by creating this small offer, from it could be from one of your core offers, then you're kind of opening up the door for them to say, well, I want more. Like, right, Sarah, when you did this 5-day workshop with me, or 2-week workshop, and you built those 5 website pages, you could have been like, well, like, I want more, Julie. I want to join
Mm.
your program that's Build a Beautiful, business, because I want to refinesse, retweak my logo and my colors, and, continue the website pages and sync all the things and create a beautiful freebie that goes with that, and a recognizable brand, right? Like, you could have, wanted to or maybe perhaps hire me to be coach so that it can coach you through all of these things, right? Like, so keeping that in mind, I think I think we could keep on going, but I think that's, you get the point.
Yeah, I know that's brilliant. It's such an important mindset thing to have when you're doing it. And I love how you actually said it of like, I want to keep going. So when you're putting something together and you're putting that offer, what is like that you can share that is going to make them, you've whet their appetite and they're actually saying, I want to keep going. And it's very similar to what I've done with the Term Time Roadmap workshop that I hosted earlier this year. I'm going to be hosting it again later this year, because it's then going to lead into my program, because I'm turning my 12-week coaching program into the self-study program. So it will have their 4 pillars of love your business, family, home, and self in it. But also part of that and doing it is the turn time roadmap. And so that's going to be leading into it, because they're then going to be like, what's next? Brilliant. This is great. So you mentioned a couple of times about naming your offer and pricing it. How do we go about picking names and deciding what the price is? Because I am absolutely terrible at that. I always get so worked up over, is it the right price? Is it not enough? Is it too high? Is it too low? And then when it comes to names, I'm rubbish at coming up with names. I never know what to call anything. So what tips do you have for us of how to figure out how to name and price our offers?
I'm rubbish too at finding names. And does that sound okay if I'm Canadian to say that?
Yeah, that's amazing. It's actually reassuring to know, because I think you always name your stuff so well. And I look at it and think, how does she do that? Mine are rubbish. But no, that's
No,
quite
no.
reassuring.
Sometimes I ask ChatGPT, come up with a name for this program. Sometimes it's rubbish, but sometimes it's good ideas. I'm not like, maybe like my titles look like, oh my God, like Julie knows how to name her titles, but I struggle too. I'm like, I have the same struggle, and I'm like, oh, like for example, this mastermind that I'm going to be hosting, like I had a name, and I'm like, I don't know, like, what can I call it? And I kind of like ask a few friends, and then I came up with, sometimes I look at what other things that I've created to see if I can pull from those names, but also keeping in mind that it has to be specific. Like if I had it like, I don't know, epically aligned formula or something, like, does that tell you that it's, like, no, like, so it's called the Virtual Summit Brilliance Mastermind, because that's what we're going to do, right? So coming up with names, and sometimes, we want to get creative and we want to get fancy, but sometimes what I'll do is I'll do a brain dump. So, and that's what I did. Did I do that with this? I'll do a brain dump. Okay, what are the words that I like? Okay, I like academy. I like, program, collective, cafe, whatever. Like, these are the names that I like. And what is this about? Well, it's about a summit and virtual summit, and like website in a box, for example. We were going to build website pages. So, website, and I had a program called Beautiful Business in a Box. So I kind of went off of that, website in a box. But don't be creative, don't be fancy, call it what it is. And I think I had another program, it was a masterclass, and it was going to be about me teaching people how to fall in love with their spreadsheets, basically, and their money spreadsheets. So I called it Money Spreadsheet Magic. And you have a tag with that, like basically telling them what you're going to talk about or teach them, or what they're going to get out of that. That's the key. That's important when you're naming your offer, having that tagline that is so specific that they know right away what it is that you're going to talk about or teach them, or what they're going to do in the workshop. And then of course you can continue on, and it doesn't have to be like a huge long sales page, right? It can be a shorter sales page, but again, you have to make sure that the pain points are there, and what they're going to get as a result of doing this with you. That's really, really, really important. And if you're good at selling on social media, and you're good at talking it out, talking with them and telling them what's included, then do that. And then you can transcribe what you've said and use that as copy, right? Like, but pricing, honestly, what feels good for you? Like at the time, $111 felt good for this workshop. Was it low? Yes. But again, like, I got great reviews. I got, the people in my world that, and sometimes you just have those people who just want to buy everything from you because they love you so much. And that happens all the time. But if you're like sitting there going like, this feels like a $17 thing. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. Right. Like, I created the summit planner, and it's a virtual summit planner. It's this amazing planner that probably took me like, I don't know, like 2-3 days to create. It's awesome. And I was like, $17, $27. I'm like, no, that's going to be my $9 offer. Right. And so, and run with it. And, like, the price has to, again, energy and feeling, like, does it feel aligned, the price? Because there's no right or wrong now, of course. I'm not going to, create a summit planner and charge $200 for it, right? Kind of being mindful of that. And I think that these workshops and these master classes or mini courses, they're kind of like in the, $9 to $100 range, could be a little bit, in the upwards to 200. But again, like feeling into like the value of what you're doing and knowing that this is kind of like that low ticket that's going to probably get them to buy something else from you, right?
Brilliant. I love it. That's such great advice, and just going with what feels right. And I did that with my 10-time roadmap. And as I was like, do I want to charge more? And because I knew it was live and it was more of us going to be coming together at the same time, but I knew that later on I would be able to resell it. And I do now on my website, that it made sense. And it went out I did a flash sale for first up. It was $15 for the first couple of days, 2 or 3 days. And then afterwards went up to 27. And I still had people come in when it was 27. It's now on my website for 47. But that's all of the bits that felt right. So yeah, that was so good. So when you're coming to creating the offers, how do you actually put them together? Do you just sort of like like you did with the mind dumping with the names and everything? Do you just sit and like mind map out how you want to put it together, and then just start creating the sales page and everything else? What are your tips for actually getting it actually done?
Yeah. So you sold it. You put your name, your tag, your bit of a sales page, your checkout. People bought it from you. Like, okay, so if it's a master class and you scheduled it on so and so date and at so time, you're gonna do the master class via Zoom or whatever you use to record your if it's live on a Facebook group or a Zoom or whatever, however you record it. And then, like, honestly, it doesn't have to be complicated. Like, if you're listening to this and you're newish to business and you don't have all the fancy tools, it can honestly be in Google Docs. Like, it can be in Google Drive, and you just share the link with the people who participated in this event. And you can password protect it if you want, make it unlisted, or you can put it on YouTube as an unlisted video, right? But if you do have the tools, if you have Kajabi or Thrivecart or any of those, you can put it in there, like put it as a course, right? And then when people are going to buy it in the future, they just, get access to the portal that you have, and they can just access in there. Now, what I did was with my workshop, it was, live. So I had the pop-up Facebook group, and then I just took the recordings and I put them on YouTube, and then I put them inside of Thrivecart in a portal so that the 10 people who joined it will continue having access to those recordings, and whatever assets were included. They're in, for me, Thrivecart, in as a course, right? And then what was the mini course? So a mini course, same thing, right? Like Thrivecart, Kajabi, any of those like teaching portals and stuff like that. But if you don't have those yet, I bought something from a coach who makes millions of dollars a year, millions. And you know where the course was? Inside of a Facebook group.
Wow.
It was her going live inside of a Facebook group, and that's where the trainings were. $1 million coach. So it doesn't have to be fancy, and you can do, like, if you, like, for example, that Facebook pop-up group that I had, I could have just left the trainings in there and then share the link of that to the students who had joined. And if anybody else bought it in the future, which I didn't end up selling it afterwards, I was going to re-record it. But anyway, I could just sell it and guide them to that Facebook group, and I can just put them as featured, right? Video 1, 2, 3. You can see the people, the comments, the questions, and then the answers or whatever. Everything's in that Facebook group. It can be that simple, right? You just direct them right to the Facebook group, or the links in Google or Dropbox or whatever, like a lot of those are free. Google Drive is up until, you've got so much stuff in it, then you have to upload, but it's so affordable. Or then you start investing in the tools like the Thrivecart or the Kajabi or any of those. There's so many, too many to name.
Brilliant. It's nice to know that we can do it simply as well, because I think when we're thinking about putting our offers out there, we just think that it has to be so big and so complicated. But actually, there's so many simple ways of doing it. And I've done exactly the same. Some of mine are a mix of inside Thrive Quite Learn. And then I've got some others that you buy the one-off workshop on my through my website, and it literally opens up as a PDF in Google Drive. Click on this bit here, it links to the unlisted video on YouTube. Click here, it links to the Google Drive file of the workbook. It can be that simple, and it's just that's all you need to do with it. This has been so helpful and so useful. Thank you so, so much. And I think it just takes away some of that pressure of thinking of that dauntingness of, pondering on and procrastinating and all of the things that I've done over the years. We know about putting offers out there, that for anybody that is just starting out is to pick something that makes the most sense, that you're super passionate about, that really hits that pain point and makes them love what you said about making them like wanting more. What's next? What's next? I want to keep going. And then just doing the pricing and then keeping the name simple, pricing it with what feels good, and then just doing what is easiest and makes the most sense of where you're at right now to get it out there. Thank you so much. Is there any one, like, I know we're going to share in a minute where everybody can find you, and I know that you've got a workbook that goes with everything that you've shared today, so you want to share all of that as well. Is there any like one final golden nugget or one little thing you'd like to share before we wrap up and I go on to the question I always like to ask all of my guests?
Yes. And, don't don't overthink it for one. Just if you have an idea, run with it. Don't overthink it. And don't let the tech deter you from creating your offer. Like figure it out after. And also, the workbook is awesome and you should download it because it's going to help you creating that offer. I created this workbook that you can put your ideas and then everything we talked about, it's all in the workbook, and you can actually sit down this afternoon or this morning or tomorrow and actually create your offer and get it out there.
Fantastic. And we will make sure that the link for that is in the show notes. Absolutely. So if this is something you've been thinking about doing, go and grab Julie's workbook because it's amazing and it really is going to guide you through all of that. So just before we share where everybody can find you, I always have one question I like to ask all of my guests on the show, and I just love all their answers. And so what does being an unapologetic mompreneur mean to you, and how are you showing up every day unapologetically, both as a mum and as the boss of your business?
That's a loaded question. But it's funny because like we talked about this recently, and I think that, it looks different for every single one of us. I love working and I can sit at my computer for 8 hours and I don't consider that work, right? And that's okay. Some coaches or entrepreneurs, they only want to work 1 or 2 hours a day and be done with it. And I have teenagers, right? So I'm done with the small kids and having to care for them all day. So I can work on my business more. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's kind of like who I am and what I love to do. And that's okay. So, but I get to decide, I get to choose. Today, I want to go shopping, so I'm not working, right? Or I'm going to spend like 10 hours at my computer today because I'm working on this program and this sales page is taking like so long to create, right? Because sales pages do. But so I think it's like giving you the option, the choice to decide how many hours, how little or how many hours you want to work on your business or take on clients, or like really truly decide how you want to run your business around your life and your family life. So, and always tapping into the why, the reason why you're doing this, like whatever that looks like for you, and dig deep, like why, like, because at the core, that's what keeps you going. And, we all have challenges, we all fall down, and that's what keeps us like that. It helps us get back up, because there's times where it's like, oh my God, like I just want to give this up, like quit this business already, get a job, right? But
Yeah.
it's what keeps going and keeps us not giving up. So yeah. And you can find me at just basically, I think the best place is juliecbutler.com, and then everything's linked from there.
Fantastic. We will make sure that all of that is in the show notes and that the link for your workbook and everything else is as well. Thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing all of your wisdom in creating an offer and getting it out the same day. And I know we've got another episode coming up very, very soon as well, where we're going to have another where you're coming back and you're going to be sharing about how to design the perfect brand for your digital product, which is going to fit very nicely with everything that we have just talked about. So if you're not already subscribed to the podcast, make sure that you are so that you don't miss that one, because you're going to want to listen to that one too. Thank you so much, Julie, for coming on. I really appreciate having you and finally getting you on the show and actually doing this. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been awesome. Brilliant. I know we could have talked for so much longer, but
I know, absolutely, without a doubt. Fantastic. Well, that's it for this episode. Thank you everybody to listening, and if you've been watching on the YouTube channel, and look forward to chatting with you in the next episode. Bye for now. Thank you so much for joining me for another installment of the Unapologetic Mompreneur podcast. If you like what you heard, be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss an episode. And if you have a moment, I would love for you to leave me a rating and a review so that other mompreneurs can find this podcast too. Here's to unapologetically becoming the mum, wife, biz owner, and woman you know you are meant and deserve to be. I can't wait to chat with you in the next episode. Bye for now.